it's funny because Susie may have a whole section of her show where she'll say, can you afford it? But the reality is that if you have to ask that question, if you don't have it in cash right now, then you probably can't afford it.
That's right.
You know?
And most importantly, it's more likely that your decision is going to be based, or her opinion on whether or not you can afford something is going to be based on how your income stream versus your cash is already set up because of those major decisions you made in the past. Right. It's those decisions you made previously that will determine the decisions you can make in the future. That's why you really want to focus on the major stuff.
Right, absolutely. And you also just touched on the idea of that recurring minor. So there's the idea of, you know, the minor expense, the salt is a minor expense one time, right? But then we have all these other minor expenses that we do every day, just as a part of our daily habit, or every week. And it's important for people to recognize that we do need to pay attention to that because of the impact that it has times 5 for that week, times 52 for the year. Can you talk about some of those things and what people can be doing?
Yeah, I especially challenge everyone to take a look and take out their credit card statement, take out their bank statement. It may even require printing it because we get everything electronically, but just print out a month's worth of statements.
Okay, yeah.
And look at them. And really where I think the true valuable find can be for almost everyone watching the show is looking and trying to find everything that you spent, so it's a charge on your credit card or it's a withdrawal from your bank statement, where that money is gone from you because of a decision you made in a previous month, that you didn't make any conscious effort to pay for that item. So we're talking about things like gym memberships, Netflix, right? And the idea is, or cable, or cell phones. Are there certain items where you're just not getting the value that you thought you would? You know, an example from my own personal life is if several months ago, and now it's a year and a half, my wife signed us up for Netflix. It's a decent deal if you watch a few movies a month. I've got 2 young kids. That is a pipe dream. Okay,
right,
we're lucky.
If you watch it.
One is like, wow, we watched a movie, right? So for us, it was a really bad deal. It's a good deal for a lot of people. For us, it was a terrible deal. So we canceled the service. It's only $9. But then you multiply it by 12 and you think, okay, $72 a year, what else could I do with $72 a year? There's a lot of things I'd rather do with the $72. And so it's a choice. Cell phone plans are another example. In this day and age, it's almost a requirement to have a cell phone. Yeah, you could probably get by with that if you didn't need one, but a lot of people will find that they need one. But are you on the right plan? Some people pay for way too many minutes than they actually use, and some people go over with great frequency. They should be on another plan. Just by getting the right plan, just by calling the cell phone company and negotiating the right deal, you get to keep your phone.
Right.
Nothing changes. You don't change your phone number. Everything's the same about your lifestyle, but your bill can go down. And now you're being fiscally responsible. Not cheap, right? You're being fiscally responsible and you're lowering what that cash flow requirement is out every month. Same income, but now you're freeing up some money to be able to save, to be able to pay off those debts and move on in your life and not live paycheck to paycheck.
Right, and feel secure. I think there's definitely this piece of being able to sleep better at night, knowing that you have this cushion that's there, especially with what's happening right now with layoffs and all that sort of stuff. It's just has such an emotional impact on us too when we're not doing that, when we're not being fiscally responsible in that sort of way. I think your Netflix was a great example, the gym membership, and I like the piece that you said in terms of where you made a decision in the past that you're continuing to pay for on a recurring basis. And for cell phone plans, I find even that when clients call and they'll say, can you look at my usage? Is this the right plan for me based on my usage, and get their help?
That's right.
It's like you don't have to figure it out yourself. You don't have to say, I don't know, do I need 1,500 minutes? Do I need 800? Whatever it is. Like they'll look at your last 3 months, 6 months, whatever you need them to, usually, to help you choose what's right for you.
That's right.
Even the gym may have multiple levels, and you may have signed up for the platinum off the charts when you were training for that triathlon or something,
Right.
But now, what do you really use? And I do a lot of practice what I preach. I've gone through all these things myself, and I was able to downgrade. Same level of usage that I get out of it.
Anyway, for less money.
Anyway, but for just a little bit less money, the $30 a month.
It adds up.
I mean, that's
and as you
almost
know, the cell phone company, the gym, Netflix, they're never going to call you.
Right.
You've got to make that phone call. And could it be annoying? I mean, I don't know what your experience is, but some people, those phone calls are annoying. It's not exactly a lot of fun to call a Netflix or a cell phone company and say, I'm going to go waste 15 minutes on the phone. But figure out what it saved you on an hourly basis, right? 15 minutes could save you several $100s a year. Most people aren't making that kind of money, several $1,000s an hour, right? So if you figure out, okay, it's worth it to be annoyed for 15 minutes and just do it. But they're not going to call you. You've got to be the one to make that proactive step.
And even if you bundle your packages, with Verizon. You know, those things can even save you 20, 30 bucks. And again, they don't really call you, but as soon as you call them, they'll be happy to do it.
And as I'm sure you discovered, sometimes it makes sense to unbundle them. It depends on what the deal of the month is and who's trying to get the business from you.
Right, and sometimes even when your deal ends, you can still call them up nowadays. It's very much a buyer's market.
Absolutely.
But this is about people taking control of their financial destiny and being willing to make the call and being willing to step up to that level. But it doesn't have to be hard.
No.
And it can be the best return for your 15 minutes.
That's right. And we talked about, you know, in the beginning about all this negotiation, right? It's one of those things where we accept as a society that when we buy a car, we have to haggle. You know, if you don't haggle with a car dealer, you're really going to pay top dollar for no reason. And what's happened as this economy has changed is that a lot more things have gone into that bucket, where now a lot of things that were not once not negotiable or you didn't know were negotiable now are. And so we've talked about some of those examples today. You've got to be the one to take that step and say, you know what, I don't need to be paying this kind of cable bill. And call the cable company and
I can't
talk
even find the channels on, on the remote control, let alone pay it. And we have just a couple more minutes. And the last thing I want to say is almost, too, without getting into too much detail, but sometimes that one call to your credit card company even about that interest rate, because that gets kind of hidden into the bill, whether it's a finance charge or something, that people actually have a lot more control right now than they realize. I have clients even who work for credit card companies, and they'll say, we want them to call because then we can help them.
That's right.
You know, we can help them with that lower rate. And it can, I mean, I've had clients that have literally saved over $30,000 on less than about $18,000 in debt by negotiating down their rates. 3 phone calls. I mean, where can you make 3 phone calls, 15 minutes, $30,000?
Right, exactly.
It's like the best return ever.
Right. It sounds too good to be true, but it's not, because in this environment, they are so desperate to try to keep you as current as possible. But again, as I'm sure you and your clients discovered, they are far more likely to work with people who are proactive, who are trying to make changes in their life, who have a plan for how it is that they're ultimately going to pay off this debt. They'll help those people. But if you're hiding from them, if you're not paying your minimum payments, they have no reason to come and knock on your door and say, hey, we're going to help you. You've got to be the one to take control of your own financial situation and set yourself on the course that you really want to be on anyway.
Absolutely. And the key thing is being motivated, right, and recognizing that there is something that you can do. I think so often now, you know, what I like about our show, Money on Your Mind, is that it is a bit of a more optimistic, this is what you can do to get into action, because there's so much out there that feels like, oh, I'm a victim of this economy. And the reality is that you don't have to be a victim. You create your own life. Right, you can go out. There's a lot of things we can do. We came up with some great tips today. Last question as we wrap up. So do they need to lose the latte?
I don't believe so. I never thought so. You control what you can control in general when it comes to the economy. When it comes to the latte, if you're going to a Starbucks or a coffee shop 5-6 times a day, you've got an issue, right? But financial issues are the least of anyone's concerns. It's probably going to be dealt with on the next show after this one. It's a different problem. But for most people, if you're waking up in the morning and the first thing you're thinking about is coffee, you're getting your $3 or $5 worth of value. Enjoy it. Focus on those major expenses, though. That'll make it far easier for you to not have the problems with the latte. Right. Thank you. I mean, it's so relevant. And, you know, the key is you just have to be able to make a little bit more to pay it. The same questions apply. Is, you know, am I making enough? And to live within my means and still be saving. You want to be the one making the choices. If the latte is more important to you than the big screen TV, knock yourself out. Get 30 lattes. Go nuts. Right. But again, it's money management is all about choices. Your choices. Thank you so much for joining us today, Michael. You're welcome, Belinda. Thanks for having me. And yes, it's been so informative and fun. Today we provided you insights into living beyond paycheck to paycheck. Stay tuned for our show, Money on Your Mind, for more money saving strategies, tips on how to manage your credit, and save for retirement. If you have any questions, ideas, or money saving tips yourself, please email us at moneytv@ownyourmoney.com. A special thank you to our sponsors as well, Bonnie Automotive in Ball Square in Somerville and Al Fresco Restaurant in Davis Square, Somerville. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Belinda Fuchs, wealth coach, CPA, and president of ownyourmoney.com and host of Money on Your Mind. We look forward to bringing you more unique and interesting ways of how you can make more, save more, and stress less about the money on your mind. I got the brain.